Hey guys, it's Sarah. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I actually went back and watched my very first favorites video from the month of May 2016. So almost exactly 2 years ago, I posted my very first favorites video on YouTube. It was very cringeworthy to watch, but I did go back and watch it just for you guys. So I'm going to be talking about today whether or not the products that were favorites back then are still favorites today. So this video was actually requested by one of my subscribers named Jess. So thank you so much, Jess, for requesting this. I'm really excited to do this. I have seen a lot of other YouTubers do this type of video as well, and I think it's really cool to go back and talk about whether the products that have been favorites for us in the past are still just as good as we thought they were back then. So I know a lot of times our tastes change, a lot of times our preferences change, or we'll find a product that works better for us than something that we used to love did in the past. So anyway, I am going to go ahead and dive in. Some of these products that were favorites back in that video are still in my collection today. Some of them are not, but I'm still going to talk about all of them. So I will link that video down below. Watch it at your own risk. It was very awkward. I think that was one of my first videos ever that I ever posted on YouTube. So just keep that in mind, but I will go ahead and get started. So the first product that was a favorite back then was the Dickinson's Witch Hazel Pore Perfecting Toner. I don't have that particular product anymore because obviously I used it up and I haven't repurchased it. I used to really like using Witch Hazel as a toner. I actually do have just like pure Witch Hazel now that I'm trying to use up, but that product was specifically marketed as a toner, so more like a skincare product. I'm pretty sure it was just Witch Hazel, maybe it was like slightly watered down, I don't know, but I think what I've realized is that I actually read about how Witch Hazel is not necessarily great for your skin. It actually has some like drying and irritating properties, so while I don't think that Witch Hazel actually dries out my skin, it might have some negative effects that I'm not really noticing. So long story short, that product is no longer a favorite, and I think I'm kind of starting to move on to different toners with better ingredients. Once I use up the Witch Hazel that I currently have, I think I'm going to be purchasing one from Paula's Choice, because I really like Paula's Choice, and I just really trust that their ingredients are all good for my skin. So that's kind of how I feel about that product. The next product is one that I do still have, and it's the Brooke Cosmetiques blush in the shade Sweet 16. I've talked about this a lot, and you guys know, you probably know if you've watched me for a while, that this has been one of my favorite blushes for a very long time. It's still one of my favorites. In fact, I'm wearing it today along with another blush. I kind of went crazy with blush today, but this to this day is still probably my favorite blush in my collection, or one of my favorites. I mean, it's just like the perfect classic blush shade. It blends really easily. It's just gorgeous, and this is a brand that is, I mean, hardly ever talked about on YouTube, so I've been really curious to try more from this brand. I don't know if anyone else is curious to hear about the brand, but I do love this blush still. I'm actually trying to work on using it up now because, I mean, obviously it was still a favorite back in 2016, and I had it even before I filmed that video, so I've had it for a while. It's something that I do kind of want to use up, but I really do like this blush, and it's still a favorite, so I think that says a lot about this blush. It's just a really good blush. So the next product was the Wet n Wild Sweet as Candy Trio. That is a product that I no longer have. I think I pretty much mostly used it up. That was definitely a favorite for a very long time. Now Wet n Wild has reformulated all their trios, and now they're quads. I don't have the Sweet as Candy quad. I just haven't really felt the need to repurchase it just because it's a really basic quad. I think it has just like a shimmery white, a shimmery kind of light pink, a brown, and then it probably has like a matte transition color in there now. I haven't really felt the need to buy that because I have enough neutral shadows in my collection. I do, though, have the Wet n Wild Walking on Eggshells quad, which I can show you if you want. It's a similar kind of color scheme. It has like a light pink, medium brown, and then kind of a shimmery white, and then the new one has this transition shade. So I feel like since I have this, I don't really need Sweet as Candy also, but that trio was a favorite for a long time. Wet n Wild has been known for having really high quality, really inexpensive shadows. I think that the new formulation, at least for Walking on Eggshells, is still really good. So another product that was a favorite was the Too Faced Glamour Dust in Nude Beam. I do still have it. I hardly ever reach for this. It's a loose glitter is basically what it is. It doesn't even have like a sifter, it's just like glitter in this little jar. So it's not something I reach for as much anymore. I really did like it a lot because it just gave like a really bright, shimmery, glittery pop on the lid. So it's not that I don't like it anymore, but whenever I do use it, I just find that it has a lot of fallout. I don't know if I just didn't realize that back then or if it didn't bother me, but it's not that it's a bad product. It is something that I would like to get more use out of. I should probably try to use it up too, but because I've had it for so long. But yeah, it's not as much of a favorite anymore. I think that when I do want that bright, shimmery, like glittery type of shadow on the lid, I usually like to reach for my Stila Shimmer and Glow in the shade Kitten. That's really close to this shade, and it's a little bit more friendly and forgiving. It doesn't have as much fallout because it's a liquid shadow. So that's kind of where I stand on that now. It's not a product that I dislike per se, but it's just something I don't really reach for as much as I used to. The next product, or actually it was a pair of products that I mentioned, were the Sonia Kashuk Shine Luxe Sheer Lipstick in the shade Sheer Pink Lust. It's a lot of alliteration. That lipstick, as well as the Milani lip liner in Spice, which I do still have. That Sonia Kashuk lipstick I actually panned not too long after I filmed that video, I think, but so that's been out of my collection for a really long time. That was just a nice nude kind of glossy lipstick. I do still have one of those lipsticks from Sonia Kashuk, but it's in the shade Sheer Melon. You might recognize this because it's been in my project pan. I definitely liked Sheer Pink Lust better than I liked Sheer Melon because it was a lot more wearable. Sheer Melon is really bright, and since it's almost like a lip gloss in the form of a lipstick, so it's a little bit harder to wear this one, but that lipstick is actually discontinued now, so I wouldn't be able to repurchase it even if I wanted to, but it was a really nice thing to just throw on, and since it was nude, it was really easy to pull off. Alongside that, I also mentioned the Milani lip liner in Spice. This is a gorgeous kind of like nude brown lip liner. I still wear it all the time. In fact, I wore it the other day, and I actually just filled in my lips with this and nothing else, and it's just really pretty. It also went really nicely with that Sonia Kashuk nude lipstick, but this would go nicely with any nude. And I think what I liked about this especially was I could create almost like an ombre lip. This is kind of like a deeper nude, so it looks nice alongside any kind of like nude pink or just lighter nude color. You can do kind of an ombre effect with it. So I still like to wear this a lot with other nude lipsticks, but also on its own. So this is definitely still a favorite for me. Another product that I had mentioned in that video was the Earth Lab Cosmetics Vegan Lash Mascara. That was something that I had received in a subscription box, and I think the reason why I talked about in that video, the reason why I really liked that mascara was because it was so easy to remove, and I've always had a hard time fully removing my mascara, so I think that's why I appreciated that product so much, because that was something that I could all you needed to remove it was water, and it came off super easily, but at the same time it was really long wearing, so it didn't smudge or flake or anything. But I do remember that mascara very well, and the effect that it gave my lashes was very natural. It just gave like the slightest darker tint to my lashes. It really didn't do a whole lot with like length and volume. It was also really expensive. I think it was over $20, and for a mascara, which is something that I have to throw away every 3 to 6 months, I really don't like to spend more than $10. It is a product that I really liked back then, but now I think my tastes have changed a little bit in terms of what I want out of a mascara. I really like for my mascara to make my lashes look really long and really dramatic and really voluminous, so that product is not something that I don't think it would still be a favorite today if I did have it. The next product was the e.l.f. Crease Brush, and this is a smaller crease brush. A lot of people love this brush, and I do still love it. I use it pretty much every day. You get a little more control with this brush than you would with a much fluffier crease brush. Like, let me compare it. So just comparing it to this Wet n Wild crease brush, you can see that the e.l.f. one is a lot smaller than the Wet n Wild. Now the Wet n Wild one is a little bit on the fluffy side for a crease brush, but the e.l.f. one, it just gives you so much control. I like to use it for applying shadow all throughout my crease, but I also really like it for doing like a little bit more of a detailed like outer V application. I also really like it for applying like just a light transition shade above the crease. So I do really still love this e.l.f. crease brush. I use it all the time, and this is the same exact one that I had back then, and it has held up really nicely. I think the ferrule is getting a little loose. That tends to happen with these e.l.f. brushes, but it's nothing I can't super glue back down if it does ever like come off completely. So I really do still recommend this crease brush. I think it's fantastic, and I use it almost every single day. And then the last product that was a favorite was the e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil. That I do not have anymore. Right now I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz. It's actually the first time I had ever tried it. I do really like it. It gives me a lot of control because it's so thin, and I think that the e.l.f. one that I really liked in that favorites video was, it was a little bit thicker. It's not like the Brow Wiz where you have like a really, really thin pencil. It's a little thicker, so you don't get as much control with it. And I do remember it being a little bit creamier, I think, than the Brow Wiz. Of course, I don't have it now to like truly compare it. I don't know, I may go back to it just because it was so cheap. I think it's like $2, so you really can't beat that. But looking back, I don't think I was very good at filling in my brows back then, but and I'm still not great at it, but I would be curious to try that one again, but I'm not sure if I would like it. I really have my eye on the Wet n Wild, I don't know what it's called. It's like a dupe for the Anastasia Brow Definer, which has like a more triangular shaped tip. And I'm really curious about that because I haven't tried the Brow Definer, but that one I've had my eye on. So once I run out of the Brow Wiz, I'll probably go for that one. But so yeah, I wouldn't say that the e.l.f. Brow Pencil is still a favorite, obviously, because I don't have it anymore, and I never actually repurchased it once I ran out. So, but I definitely did like it as a beginner. I think it was pretty easy to work with. So we'll see. I may end up repurchasing it one day in the future. But so anyway, those are all the favorites from way back in May of 2016. So I hope this was helpful and fun to watch. Thank you again to Jess for recommending that I do this video. I definitely plan to keep doing this because I think it's really cool to kind of revisit those favorites from previous years. So if you enjoyed this video, I hope you will subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!